We're back.
Oh, wait, are we? That was fast.
I did say it fast.
Quickly, we are back.
On the draw this week.
That's true. That's true. Win, lose, or draw, Dylan is there. He's got it all. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was listening to this cool theme song that we made for this. We didn't make it. Our friend Jared Gleason made it. He makes the themes for all of our weird stuff. If you don't know who we are Some Nobodies. My name is Zach, and that guy is Dylan. And together, we are mostly Some Nobodies. Actually, we are all of Some Nobodies. Well, that's not true. There's a bunch of us. But we do create a bunch of weird things. We create podcasts. We create shows. We create very lengthy text messages that we refuse to send because we like to see that little draft number on there. Yeah, so we've made weird things like Silicon Angels, which is, IT phone calls of a sex robot manufacturer that really they really get you with the warranty. And we make a bunch of weird stuff. We have our show called Talking UpStream, in which what we do there is we talk to creators of our things, podcast creators, movie creators, plastic food that you can wear on your head creators, even creators of other shows that we've created, which was ourselves. But we talk to them and we get their creative process and how they do it, why they do and what they do. And then together we collaborate something. We've made 42 of those episodes, and season 2 is coming back pretty soon. But we didn't want to keep making up a whole bunch of new stuff without working on the cool stuff that we've already done. So we made this show where together we will work on a project and show you guys how we get from point A to point Z. And with your help, hopefully. And if you have any questions or comments, please throw them in the chat because we love talking to people and we like being right. So whatever you're saying is wrong. We will be right. So fill in the comments and and we'll prove to you that we're right about things.
Zach's not being aggressive to the listeners.
Yeah. I'm trying to neg a cyber audience right now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. We were doing a bunch of 90s movies. I'm like, what was cool in the 90s? Negging.
Yeah.
that was real cool. You're just like, I don't like you. I do.
Make them really want your approval.
Yeah, really. Like, oh, that drawing sucks or whatever. Anyway, before we get into the concept we've been working on, which is a really cool one called DEADBEAT, in which a cop gets possessed by a demonic force, demon force, and has to deal with it. And it all kind of came from just the one tagline, which was possession is 9/10 of the law. And from that sparked this weird thing. We worked on this on our show Talking UpStream with Scott Curtis. You can find the show, the link to that in the show notes below if you want to see how we created that. And then now we're going to work on that. So before then, I always have some kind of weird, stupid stuff to talk about just to make sure people can get into the chats and prove to me that I'm right. About other people's comments, which is not true, really. But the thing that I want to talk to you about this week, Dylan, is it's advertising. When it comes to movie advertising, there's a couple different things that people can do to get viewers, I guess. And the whole point of advertising is really just to make sure people go and buy the product that you're selling. The one that kind of caught me, obviously the Avengers have been doing this thing where like they'll kind of change a little bit of the marketing campaign to make people a little bit off the path of what's going on. But it was Spider-Man that really got under my skin as far as advertising goes. And it was because there's this new style of advertising, which is leaks, right? Which is where they because they don't really know how to display something that will give away a movie. Because I think when you look back at other Spider movies, even like No Way Home, when you bought a first trailer, you knew that entire movie. So then they've been kind of fixing how they do trailers. Now, a lot of times now, Marvel movies are so big that it relies solely on the surprise. Like, what is the thing? Now, because of that, you can't really advertise that. So they decided to do this thing where they'll do leaks, where they have themselves pose as nobodies, and they'll put pictures out that make people say, "Wait, is Andrew Garfield actually in this?" Now he has
Tobey
to go into
Maguire spotted on set.
Yeah, Tobey Maguire and Zendaya were having lunch together the same time that Tom Holland and his brother were filming a scene.
Spoilers for Spider-Man Into the Homecoming. No, what's it called?
Into the Homeverse.
Into the Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Right into him. And I was curious how you feel about this style of marketing where, you know, the nerd, I guess, comic, whatever fan base is so large and they're so speculative that they like to gather little bits of info. And you know that I'm one of those people, and I'll freeze frame things and screenshot it. I worked on the Batman code for a while, learning that it was already solved. But this is a weird one because it kind of, I don't know how to feel about the fact that they're kind of tattling on themselves and then it's almost like they're gaslighting us for questioning why they're releasing things.
Well, I think the Spider-Man No Way Home marketing campaign is not an anomaly, but I think it's definitely kind of the next step in Marvel's misleading marketing campaigns that they do. They've done it before, where I'm thinking of Infinity War, the first time that I noticed it, when there's a scene of all the heroes charging and the Hulk is there. Not in the movie. It's Bruce Banner inside a Hulkbuster suit. So they will make very specific changes between the trailer and the actual finished film, which were kind of lies. Like, you know, the Hulk is there, but it's Bruce Banner. Like, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then, you know, people started anticipating that a bunch of different versions of Spider-Man would show up in this movie. And it always felt to me like it was a foregone conclusion that with the success of Into the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man comics for a long time have had this kind of like multiversal boundary crossing going on. There's a lot of like, from what I understand, there's a lot of modern day Spider-Man comics where he interacts with versions of himself from across the universes. But you would see in the marketing campaign for this movie, it relied a lot on nostalgia. And the few scenes that we saw, I'm thinking primarily of the shot of all the villains leaping towards Spider-Man.
Yep.
And there's only one Spider-Man. And yet it seems that the lizard strikes something midair that you can't see.
Yeah.
Which allegedly was only visible in the Brazilian version of the trailer.
But we know about it.
But it was somewhere. That kind of mistake probably would not get past Marvel's QA.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. I don't see like with what a, you know, mega conglomerate Marvel is now, having somebody make a trailer that has to not go through anybody else, but it just pops up out of nowhere. Like every little thing matters, and I think they know that. And when you watch a movie like Spider-Man, when you look at every single license plate, like they're all references to something. Like each one is you know, a comic reference or something. So they care so much about the tiny details. It just
but I think the leaks, I think specifically the leaks, I think you're right about the details, and I think the release of the 4 frames too late cut of the trailer was intentional.
Yeah.
Because I think one of the big issues with movie trailers in the last few years has been revealing too much of the plot to the audience before the movie's even released.
Yeah.
I know that it was the Amazing Spider-Man 2 trailer had literally the last shot of the film in the trailer.
Yeah.
The last few seconds, actually, when he's fighting the Rhino. It's the last like 5 seconds of the movie. And then, you know, the explosions behind him and the manhole cover on the web, whatever. And I think this is partially Disney trying to like let audiences know that there's something they want in the movie without being the ones directly and visibly responsible for spoiling everybody before its release.
Yeah. It is just it's an odd technique to me, and it seems kind of lazy, but also manipulative. I think because they know that we're going to pick apart every little scene, and even when you watch the trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home, where Doctor Strange is doing his thing with his coffee cup, and Wong is like, Strange, don't you cast that spell, but that's not in the movie,
Nope.
so it's like, well, that's weird. But now
It's not
I
in the
think
movie, but it's at the beginning of the Multiverse of Madness trailer, which aired at the end of No Way Home. And I heard that line and I'm like,
yeah,
that wasn't in this movie, but they're using it to call forward Multiverse of Madness.
So I'm curious if what they can do now is they just film a whole bunch of scenes and then kind of put movies together in a different way. And, I think the first part of that was Gwyneth Paltrow not knowing what movie she's in. And I think it's because that they don't know. They actually don't know when they're filming certain scenes what part of what movie this is going in. So I think that kind of sucks because it made her look stupid. And I don't think that was real, but whatever. It is just odd that they're choosing this new style of campaigning for advertising. And I think that the Sonic one also is really detrimental to how you can advertise a movie, because you put out a bunch of things making it seem like you have a movie when all actuality what you're doing is crowdsourcing a bunch of comments and then making a movie based on those comments, because that those are going to please the fans that are now invested because they got their way, but they didn't. They just got suckered into paying attention more. So it is so weird how the new style of advertising is going, because everything is so reliant on spoilers and and sneaks and everything else. So I was curious how you feel about all of that and what you think moving forward, how movies are going to advertise, knowing that it's got to be so, like you think about the Flash movie where Michael Keaton, Ben Affleck's in it. Now they're saying that Zod and his henchwoman are in it, and there's 2 or 3 Ezra Millers in it, and there's and also there's maybe America Chavez is in it, and there's so many weird people. I'm kidding about the last one. But you almost I know. Well, she's a Marvel character. But there's just
realize, but
there's there's so much going on in these movies that you almost can't show people what they are. Yeah. So do you have any thoughts on that, or what you think marketing is going to change in the future?
I mean, I think with Spider-Man, it was more transparent than it's ever been on Disney's part. I think that movie in particular wanted so badly to have that moment of surprise where, the other Spider-Man are going to be in it, but we want it to be a good reveal, but it will get people to buy tickets knowing that they can go see their old Spider-Man that they liked. And when you bring up the Sonic media campaign, definitely felt in retrospect. I only recently watched Sonic over the holidays. It was on some streaming service. I'm like, yeah, screw it. The second one has Knuckles and Tails in it. You got the trio back together. And I was a big fan of Sonic growing up, the video games. So cool to see Knuckles. That trailer got me pretty hyped for the second one.
Yeah.
As much as trailers can anymore. But I watched that first movie with the original Sonic design in mind. And I was like, how would this play with coked up weird Sonic?
Yeah.
And I couldn't. It confirmed in my. I had a theory, and I wasn't the only one who thought this, that they weren't ready to release the movie yet with their original date. So they released the trailer with a really bad prefab, intentionally poorly designed Sonic design, so that there would be such an outcry that they would be able to go back and put some finishing touches on it. I have nothing to back that up. But we know that movies go back for reshoots and redesigns and whatever delayed for whatever reason. And this was pre-COVID, so they couldn't kind of pin it on we want to save it for a hybrid release or whatever.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
Well, also, I think the cool thing, and to touch on what you're talking about, is that I think that this Sonic movie was done, and I think that they purposely put out an ugly Sonic to get hype. I think that was intentional, and which is weird. I didn't mean to cut you off, but go ahead.
No, that's fine. The movie itself is fine. I liked it more than I disliked it, which is the best I can probably give something like a Sonic movie.
It's the best Jim Carrey's been in a while.
It's the best Jim Carrey's been in a long time.
Yeah.
James Marsden is fine. The Sonic stuff is pretty fun. They do a lot of callbacks and stuff, and I can't imagine that working with that weird pseudo-realistic design, because he does his like pinball moves and he runs super and he does all that stuff, and I'm like, that would have been such a weird misfire if I had seen that with the original design. Now DC style, I think they're just grasping at straws, and I think it's unfortunate that they are again trailing Marvel getting on the multiverse train, because DC's
cinematically.
Well, because Flashpoint and Crisis on Infinite Earths and stuff were, I think, far before Marvel had any sort of like big scale crossover multiversal stuff going on. That was back in what, the 80s?
Well, Flashpoint,
Crisis.
Crisis was I guess early mid 2000s. Flashpoint was like 2012, I think. Now, but you're right though. The only real Marvel thing that touched on multiverse was Spider-Man. There was a character called Madam Web who was able to interact with every version of Spider-Man, and that's very cool. And then obviously Venom being the symbiote was Infinite Universes. But DC has always talked about multiverse. DC has been the one that was Earth 1, Earth 2. To me, they were the ones that originated the multiverse in comics. And it's so weird how movies have shaped the minds of what people think that comics actually are, because everyone's like, oh, DC suck. And no, DC is a great comic company with a wealth of characters that are all troubled with powers. Marvel are people that are flaunting their powers, and they want to show you how cool their powers can be. DC is a bunch of characters that are that are just wrought with power and don't know what to do with it, and they wake up struggling to be powerful. And I think that's why DC is so cool. But the multiverse thing, so it is hard, like how to show advertising. But then you think like Matt Reeves with the Batman, like what he's doing is something that really touches one of my chords, which is the mini leaks, like when you look at the bottom of one poster and there's a bunch of Spanish in there, and you rework that into a website that you're like, oh, wow, there's weird riddles on this website that lead me to an image. And I'm like, what does this image mean? And now that's interesting, because now I need to see Batman, because I'm like, why was this the advertising?
It reminds me of the Cloverfield marketing with all the Slusho stuff and the alternate world websites and all the satellite things. And you don't know what's going on in the movie unless you participated in the marketing blitz beforehand. And it makes sense. I think that helps reinforce the Riddler as someone who always has a plan and kind of, sprinkles clues everywhere.
Yeah, but then I also fall down a trap where I'm like, now I'm upset because I need to watch a movie to understand the advertising for the movie that I've already seen, just to go back and go, okay, now what did that commercial mean? So I'm curious where advertising is going in the future, knowing that streaming is going to be such a big deal. How do you advertise for streaming? Now that there's like these big war, like the Disney wars are going on, because everyone's suing Disney for putting all their stuff on streaming. So it is. I don't know. It's weird because they got to be new, but what's the new?
And you're going to start running into the issue where, how do you advertise your exclusive series elsewhere? Yeah. Because if I'm HBO and I'm trying to advertise the newest HBO series, I'm not going to get commercials for it on Netflix or Disney Plus.
Nope.
Nobody watches TV.
No one listens to radio.
But I have started hearing advertisements on podcasts, which, if you're looking to sell advertisements, hit us up at Some Nobodies. We'll sell out.
We'll talk.
We'll advertise your Dr. Kevorkian drama, whatever the fuck you're advertising.
That weird Dr. Kevorkian action romance movie.
Dr. Death, I think, is what it was called. It was like and it's like they get the same person for all of these commercials where it's like exclusively only on Peacock, and it's like this really like intense, like,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, plus 30 seconds, plus 30 seconds. All right, there we go. But you run into this issue of like, when everything is so insular, how do you advertise elsewhere? You buy ads on the internet, pre-roll ads on YouTube, because Disney Plus isn't going to sell you advertising space until they do. Until we're back to cable, except you are paying for every individual channel you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
so this is all, I mean, this is all issue that now that we're on the frontier of a new media format, this is all stuff that's going to get worked out in the next 5 years. Not to the consumer's benefit, but there we are.
Yep, and soon we'll have to log into Roblox to see our next advertisement for DC stuff.
The next Star Wars movie isn't going to make sense unless I play Fortnite.
Yeah. Well, because I was trying to think about a way that, because social media was such a big bang, like 12 years ago, 10 years ago, and it wasn't really that long that Facebook just kind of popped off. And I was trying to think of like, okay, well, what's the next big like social media bang? Like, what's the next thing that's going to just capture people's minds? And I realized that I think that it's going to be the metaverse. I think it's going to be because I'm scrolling through all my Google headlines, and one just popped out to me, and it just made my brain skip. And it was that Paris Hilton is opening a store in Roblox, and my brain could not comprehend what that meant. I could not get it, and because like Roblox is an individual game, right? Like if I play Roblox, like can you play on my
it's
Roblox?
Multiplayer.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
So there is a place that you can go and just go to like Roblox stores. So yeah.
Oh, so here we go.
That's it. So just so you know, I've purchased land in a metaverse, and some Nobodies castle is going to be there soon.
I want a cabin in the woods so bad.
In the metaverse, you got it, pal.
No.
Yep. It's cabinofthewoods.com, and there you can be as solitary as everyone else is. But yeah, so anyway, that's the weird nerd stuff. If you have any information for me on how advertising works and what you think the next is, go ahead and throw it in the comments or text Dylan, please, because I would like to have him respond to one of my texts. Damn it, every time. All right, so now with the last part of the show,
you, producers, for putting that on screen.
God, I hate whenever they do that. It's just so annoying. It's so. Anyway, so really getting some stares by the producer over here. What's Dylan? It wasn't whatever. Okay, anyway, the rest of the show, we're going to go over what the show should be about, which is content creation. This is the part 3 of Deadbeat. I'm going to let Dylan kind of talk about where we are at, what we're trying to accomplish with the rest of this episode, and why this is such a cool idea.
Yeah. So, we are doing Deadbeat. The idea that we originally pitched was a cop gets possessed by a demon and fights crime. Real easy. Here's a little development document. This is where we've been scribbling our notes. We're not in a writing process. This is just expanding our outline. The outline we had originally wasn't super detailed, so that's why we're doing the show. I've split this up into Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. I am using the beat sheet that I have adapted from Jeffrey Calhoun's book, The Successful Screenwriter, which takes kind of every beat you need. You turn those into scenes, and then you write those scenes out. It comes out to about a 93-page script if you do it like ... So we have like Act 1, usually pages 21 to 25, then Act 2, 26 to 65, and then Act 3, 65 to 90. That's it. That's the end. 90-page script, 90 minutes. Usually it turns out to be like 100 because you got credits and you have your long drawn-out shots that last longer than the stage directions take to read. We have a very rough outline of details. And first act is pretty well laid out. Second act has some effective, essential parts in it. And Act 3 needs some more details. So I thought today, I'm gonna go through the story as we have it right now, just broad strokes, see where we left off.
Mm-hmm.
So we start at the night. The two main characters are on their beat at the docks, and they split up to investigate some shady stuff. The main character has a partner who is a member of a cult. He doesn't know that. They're listening to the main character's girlfriend on the radio. She does a radio show with a band that is doing a promotional stunt with the local museum, showing off some sort of ancient culture artifacts. Main character sees some cultists try to load a crate off a ship into their car, drives off. They give chase because they're stealing something. Crate falls out after a speed bump or something. The cultists get out, and the cops stop and get the crate. Partner hit their head, so the partner is kind of out of it. Main character stops to investigate the crate. They radio the headquarters, get the EMT out there. Inside the crate is a big stone tablet. Spooky runes are carved on it. Main character's looking at it. In the background, his girlfriend's radio show is playing a song that is adapted from the text on the tablet, which activates a tablet, possesses him with a demon. Boom. Page 10. Inciting Incident. EMT shows up, inspects the partner, says they're okay, but he needs to be brought in for inspection. The EMT is a guy named Michael. He is secretly an angel. Takes the partner to the hospital, so the partner is out of the scene. Main character calls his girlfriend to let her know that he's okay or that he had an incident or something. We see that they care for each other and that they're separated by their jobs. Main character finishes their beat, encounters a junkie, gets into a fight, gets hurt, or does he? Because when he looks down, there's just a rip in his shirt and no injury behind it. He's thinking, I'm lucky. Lets the guy go, goes back to the precinct. His partner is there waiting for him because he got discharged from the hospital. Partner logs the tablet. Main character goes home, sees his girlfriend. Partner sneaks the tablet out to his mega church, which is a cult headquarters run by a guy named Brother Jeremiah. They do some sort of ritual to try and get the character possessed. Turns out there's no demon in the tablet. They think it's weird. Partner immediately puts it together that the main character's the guy who's become possessed by the demon. Brother Jeremiah is like, all right, get your partner in here. We're going to deal with this. At Craig's house, he's doing his Spider-Man Sam Raimi transformation where he's like, oh, why is my shadow flickering? What's this voice? Why do I smell sulfur? Etc., etc. Do we have a gas leak? His girlfriend's like, hey, take it easy. Let's go out. We'll do something. Nice. I don't know.
Nice.
Yeah. And then Act 1, he should probably realize by the end of Act 1 that he's possessed by a demon. Fine. Mm-hmm. Some stuff happens. We need to flesh this out a bit more. But the partner gives the main character's address, and they raid his house while he's out on a date. They come home, do a reverse home invasion because he gets like demon hulked out, goes room to room, fights off the cultists, gets really intense in front of his girlfriend, freaks out and leaves. Some stuff happens. The main character runs into his girlfriend's friend who's super religious. She tries to get him exorcised. The exorcism goes bad. She gets killed by a falling crucifix. The cultist is there. Maybe they show up, and maybe that's the reason the exorcism goes badly. We do the three-way standoff between evangelical church, cult, Craig demon. But the main thing is that Caroline is dead, and Craig runs off as he's partially demonized, and he realizes, oh, maybe this isn't such a good thing to happen to me. Craig tries to cast off the demon, kind of succeeds. The demon withdraws willingly, but of course all the injuries he sustained during his crime fighting spree, which we'll detail at some point, start to manifest because the demon's not keeping him together anymore. So Craig has to physically wrestle the demon in order to subjugate it and make it come back into his body and keep himself from dying. Craig is told the cult has his friends. They've kidnapped Shania, the girlfriend.
Okay.
Sure, why not? Yeah. Act 3, Craig saves his girlfriend. Maybe he gets possessed by something else. Maybe Craig gets baptized. Maybe Brother Jeremiah and him have a brain fight. But ultimately, Craig fights off the cult. They'll run away. He saves his friends. With the help of Michael, the EMT, and his girlfriend, they realize that playing the song from the radio backwards is going to put the demon back in the tablet. They do it. The EMT is right there to keep him from dying of his injuries. He wakes up in the hospital. Everything's nice. It's great. The cult has been very, very badly diminished in strength, but they're still out there. He gets promoted to detective for solving the tablet issue. Maybe his partner takes the fall, but his partner takes the rap for it.
Yeah.
And then we end with that little post-credit scene. The tablet's on display in the museum. The janitor's listening to music on his headphones, and the runes glow red.
Yeah.
Deadbeat.
Deadbeat. It's a wrap.
Mostly.
Yeah.
You can see there are some gaps in this story.
Yeah.
Some pretty substantial ones. So
All right,
Yeah,
first off, if you are checking this out, if you're just tuning in right now and you just heard Dylan's recap, let us know what you think about the story so far, Deadbeat, and if there's any parts in here that you think that we should go back over or fix it, especially while we're going over and fixing it. So, what are the parts that you think we should fill in or work on the most right now?
So I want to get down here. This is the beat sheet that I've laid out. This is an adaptation of your classic kind of beat sheet and the one Jeffrey Calhoun does in his book. And I have gone through and kind of added everything in their approximate places with some page counts. So the inciting incident, this is him getting possessed by a demon. Page 10, we're good. Antagonist 1, tie the antagonist to the character. The cult is the antagonist. His partner ties him to the main character. The debate. We need to see Craig realize that he's possessed and debate with himself, am I going to use this to fight crime? Of course, the answer is yes, but we need to wonder if that's going to happen. This would be the equivalent of Neo being willing to follow the White Rabbit in The Matrix 1.
Yeah.
Part 1, we intro. There's a meet cute. He runs into Trinity in the nightclub. This is Shania and him kind of like hidden, we see them together. We see that they're very happy with each other and working up to getting married. He wants to be detective. They are not quite stable enough to do that. Page 25, plot point 1. Beginning of the story, a moment of conflict pushing into Act 2. This would be him starting to fight crime as a demon. He takes down his first robber, whatever. This is Spider-Man deciding to put on a suit and running out to fight crime for the first time. Yeah.
Okay.
We also introduce the supporting character 1, introduce and paint them as unique. This could be the demon. We could introduce the demon as a supporting character, similar to Venom, where Venom has his hey, turns out I'm Venom. What's up? I haven't seen Venom. I don't know if that's what he sounds like.
Almost verbatim.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, turns out I could have written Venom.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. We're all hacks here.
We're all Tom Hardys.
That's Act 1. Act 2, we got to focus on a central conflict, usher the story forward. So this would be Craig being like, yeah, man, it feels good to fight crime, but everything I know tells me that being possessed by a demon's a bad thing. I wonder how I'm going to deal with this. 45 is the midpoint. That's where the character experiences a figurative death and a figurative rebirth. It's a significant moment. You force a literal or figurative resurrection on the character. This would be the home invasion, kind of.
So this is when he moves into the superior level of strength because of the demon?
Yes, this is the halfway point of the movie.
Yeah, cool.
Where he realizes what he can do and he uses it to kind of come back from a hard moment. So the home invasion, he deals with the demon, stuff like that.
Okay.
The heart character has a crescendo that's related to the death and rebirth. So this would be him being like, listen, I'm not going to go out and fight crime as a demon tonight. I'm taking you to expensive restaurant on the rocks, and we're going to have a good night to ourselves. Then the antagonist 2 shows up. This is where they get some development. So the partner shows up, and we see some partner stuff happen. I don't know. Pinch 2, this is like the pinch. This is where the character experiences a lot of pressure. And the supporting character has support, or presents support in order to, provide a moment of change. So this could be him kind of fighting the demon at the docks and being like, listen, you're going to leave me alone. He goes, okay, but then you're going to die without me. He goes, okay, I guess I'm going to wrestle you back then.
Yeah.
Leads into plot point 2, which is the point of no return. So he has embraced the demon inside himself and is going to, deal with that.
Pause. Has there ever been a story where a bunch of demons are around and one of them gets possessed by a human, and then they kind of just get made fun of because they don't have any powers anymore?
A demon gets possessed by a human?
Yeah. Like a reverse possession. Can that happen?
It doesn't ring a bell to me, but we can definitely do it.
All right, put that in the notes anyway.
Okay.
All right. Sorry.
But this area, the pinch is where Caroline tries to get him baptized. It doesn't work out. Plot point 2 is the point of no return, where he wrestles the demon for control. He goes to the heart for strength. The heart could be either Shania or Michael. Resurrection is when they use the tools they have learned to the mastery of the demon to choose a second death and rebirth, this time in a triumphant tone. And then he uses it to beat the bad guys, and the antagonist suffers their ultimate defeat, and the supporting character recognizes and implements change, and the heart has an ultimate conclusion, and the character returns to people with their gifts, and, the Shire has never felt war, and Harry breaks the Elder Wand, and everybody except Chewbacca gets a medal, because ultimately the conflict doesn't matter to Chewbacca, because he's like 180 years old, and he doesn't give a shit.
That's true. He's still got his fur, so he's happy.
Yeah. So yeah, that is what a beat sheet looks like. That is my hyper accelerated masterclass on the beat sheet.
There you go.
As best I understand it. I got a lot wrong, but that's kind of the guideline that we're using to write this story.
Yeah, you probably got a lot right too, though. So
yeah, we'll see.
Keep that in mind.
So we need to come up with the Robocop sequence of him fighting crime as a demon cop, which is going to be the that pinch at the start. Fun and games is what it's also called in some beat sheets, where the character enjoys their new power before things go wrong.
Now, all right, so enjoys new. So this is before the home invasion scene where they wreak havoc, right?
Yes,
so
this is before.
So this is the scene. I guess what we're trying to show is that they have more power than they think, but it's still within their realm. Like they don't know that they're possessed, but they do have a little more power than what they used to have, or what they're used to, and now they're going a little crazy with it.
This is just after they realize they're possessed, but they don't know to what level. This is him kind of like first interacting with the demon, learning what he can do, learning what they can do together.
Yeah. Now, I guess it would just be our main character either spending too much time working, kind of just sitting in, I don't have a montage of them going over all the cold cases and then just kind of trying to do so much more. There's that idea. We also could all right,
he's a beat cop.
Yeah,
he's going to be stuck kind of on a beat, but he can do vigilante stuff on the side.
Yeah. Now, are we trying to give the demon a bit of a a personality, or do they interact with each other? Are we doing that kind of thing?
I think so. I think in order to make the demon feel like a present threat, that he might take over Craig's body and use it for evil. I think we need to give the demon some character.
Yeah, I can definitely see it taking over, and that makes sense to me. I don't know if we have to give him a character per se, because if we did, I guess it would be more funny or I guess clever if they weren't malicious, right? Because if the bad cult was trying to just grab this demon to use his powers, the demon probably wouldn't want that, right? Demons don't want to be controlled.
Yeah. The demon is in Craig's body of his own, as far as it knows, its own terms.
Yeah.
And it doesn't want to be forcibly taken out and put in the priest's body. Also, priest bodies they sting. They hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. They stink. Oh my God. Yeah. They probably do. Okay.
It's like wearing a suit with a bunch of fish hooks in it.
Yeah. So I guess that means that we're going to have the scene where he's on his normal beat. And I guess there's a convenience store robbery that he's getting involved in, and things go way better than he anticipates, because maybe he would have gotten shot or something, but to main character, he feels like the person missed or whatever, but they actually just shot him. You know what I mean? Is that what you're kind of talking about?
At this point, he knows that the demon that he's possessed. I think by the end of Act 1, he knows that he has a demon in him.
Right. But what I'm saying is he's taking more chances, and he doesn't know the extent of what this power can do yet. So he's all right, let's see if we can just do this.
Yeah.
And he's and maybe, okay, so if we give the demon a consciousness, I guess there would be the conversation between Craig and the demon, right? Which is hey, what are you doing, and what can we do? And if the demon knows that there's this cult trying to get him, then maybe the demon's look, we got to take this cult down. We got to take them down. They're bad guys. And Craig's that's kind of out of my league. You know, but I think that what do you think about if the demon knows that if he gets put back into the tablet, he's going to be taken by this cult. So he wants Craig to succeed, I guess, right? He likes Craig more than he likes the cult.
I think the demon wants a human body so it can act in the material world. Otherwise, it's just stuck in a rock. Like, it can't do anything in a rock. But he's like, oh, I can eat now. I can destroy things now. I love being in a human body. Like, yeah. And so it doesn't want to go back in the tablet. Not maybe initially because he's like, you don't want me to fall into the cult's hands, do you? But in reality, it's just a selfish demon that wants to experience things. And those things are bad. Yeah. But there we are.
Okay. So what kind of scene do you think we need then? Like what would be a proper display of superpower?
I like the idea of Craig being given some time off due to and maybe he's given like a few days or something, and it's him deciding to be vigilante about it.
Okay.
We have a conversation between him and his partner about the stifling nature of bureaucracy and how, like, yeah, I'm only on a beat. I can't go out and fix things. And so this is him and the demon being like, I'm gonna go out and like try to you can give me power, right? And he's like, give me power, I'll give you power if you give me experience or something,
Yeah, but I feel that if there is the push and pull, because the demon doesn't just take over Craig,
no,
right? So there has to be a motive of the demon to want Craig to be able to have control, right? Like he has to have a reason that he's giving Craig the power and not consuming Craig. And if all he wants is,
I think power corrupts, and I think the demon is like, we could have some sort of metaphysical supernatural rule that Craig has to be partially willing to let the demon in, and so the demon is like tempting him because that's what demons do traditionally, where it's like, use my power a little bit. You're using it for good. You're using my power for good, right? And you can do more good if you use more of my power, right, Craig? Or stop the store robbery. Next, stop the next store robbery. Then you see the guy causing trouble in the high rise, fight your way through the high rise. And like,
so what if we kind of go down like a Crank route where like he almost has like this violence built up in him, and he has to expel violence, or else the demon's going to completely control himself or control Craig. So now he has to choose where to use this powerful violence so that he doesn't get taken over. Because if he gets taken over, the cultists are going to win or whatever. So Craig has to decide now where to push this very aggressive violence in a way that is on his terms legal, which it would be vigilantism. So yeah, I like that idea. So like throughout the day, Craig is just kind of getting angrier and angrier because this violence is like in him that the demon needs. And when he gets off work, that's when he's just like, okay. And then he just goes crazy on things. So he always goes to like the bad. Do you like that idea?
I do. And we can tie that into messages about self-control and violent tendencies and resisting those urges to go a little more extreme measures.
Yeah, because I always need a reason for the sharing of abilities. Because if this demon can just take over, why would he take over? You know what I mean? He doesn't need Craig.
I don't think he can take over without Craig being like, yes, take over. The good thing about doing this is that we can kind of make the demon's rules be whatever we want.
Yeah.
Where it's like, by reciting the words on the tablet, you invited me into your body, which means you want me to use your power. And he's like, I didn't know I didn't though. And he goes, ignorance of metaphysical law is not just justification for not following it.
So it's the equivalent of just clicking the I've read all these and I agree to all the terms. It's like, look, man, you said all the words, and he's like, I didn't know what I was saying as a song. That's just what I didn't even say it. Somebody else.
You were the vessel nearest me when the spell was recited.
And then he said, look, I'll go into a different body if you want. And Craig's like, No.
Not right now.
You don't like that?
No. I'm saying from Craig's point of view, he's like, no.
Yeah.
And
because
then
like maybe
that
all
is
around him.
unwittingly Craig allowing the demon to reside inside him.
Right. Like when the demon shows up the very first time, there's like only like maybe kids around. And he's like, look, you don't have to keep me, dude. I'll go into a different body. And Craig's like, oh God. No.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Let's figure this out. Cool. And then he's like, look, I'm gonna take over your brain if you don't, I guess, give me souls. Somehow a measurable amount of expelled violence.
Mayhem. Like we can do a classic kind of like evil spirit thing where it is, I want to wreak havoc on the mortal world, and your body is the tool through which I act. So you can control the style of havoc I wreak, or you can set me free and I'll find a different vessel who might be more willing. Or just like a controlled release, we can find the right pressure valve to push. And then we see him like look over and someone is like, trying to snatch a purse. I don't know. What crimes are committed in 80s Chicago that aren't too harsh to talk about when we're doing a podcast?
Like a carjacking. Like a carjacking.
And Craig's like, let's do it. He gets demon hulked. We see a second set of eyes open up on his forehead. We see a shadow behind him form some sort of crown of horns or something.
Yeah.
And then he rips and tears and does his demon thing.
And the demon's like, look, either you choose a person or I choose a person.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right, I'm into that.
Cool. All right.
And obviously that's going to start on very low level crimes and then escalate itself up. And at first it's like, all right, let's just stop this guy because he is a bad person.
Yeah.
And he's like, fine. I like that idea. I think that's cool.
And then I think we need to delay the partner telling Brother Jeremiah about Craig, because I think the partner is concerned about Craig's health first. And he's like, I'll figure it out. I'll try to get the demon out of him. And then when he fails to get the demon out of him, that's when he tells Jeremiah. Then in Act 2 at the rebirth, we have the home invasion scene. Craig runs off into the night, partially demon possessed. And that's where we have the pinch.
Yeah. And maybe there's a scene where, because there's the conversation between the demon and Craig, maybe there's like a thing where the demon can make Craig like sleepwalk, like he can kind of like maybe control him when he's not that conscious. So maybe Craig, because I feel like there's gonna be a part where something bad happens that Craig's not really aware of, and that's when so I kind of like that too. Like if Craig's not really persistent, the demon can start controlling him. Like say like Craig's kind of daydreaming and he's like, wait, why am I punching this person? He's like,
he's walking down the street and like, thinking about things, hands in his hoodie pockets, and he's obviously in self-contemplation, and he looks down and there's a knife in his hand and he's like, wait a minute, where did I get this?
Yeah, exactly. I like that. And like, unless he's like constantly just on check, the demon will try to take over and do violence. So I think that's cool.
Cool.
All right, what's next?
I mean, a lot of this, let's see. We need a timeline of like that. That's pretty simple. I think what we should do, and I think this is more detail work that we probably isn't too interesting for the air, is going through this beat sheet and assigning scenes to them. Because I think, let's see, this is roughly, it's like 9 scenes.
Mm-hmm.
It's 9 beats. Everyone should have 3 scenes to it. And every scene should be about 3 pages.
Okay.
Which is how you get to about, I think it's like 89, I think.
So it's going through the beat sheet and putting in these scenes?
Pretty much. It's 27 scenes, which comes out to about 81 minutes, which when you film it, expands into about a 90-minute film. Plus some scenes are longer, some are shorter. It's all variable.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's cram those scenes in there, I guess.
We're pretty much out of time.
Wow, we got a couple minutes left.
All right.
Well, what else do you want to work on then?
No,
do you want to call it here because this is a good place to stop?
I think it's a good place to stop.
Right.
And if we want to like really dig into this, I think that's what next week can do.
Well, let's set ourselves up with a to-do list for next week, just so we know where we need to kind of get caught up. Now, what are some things that we need to get done next? So we now have Act 1, except for the actual detail in the writing part. I think Act 1 is pretty there. Act 2, the beats are kind of there. There's a couple little holes we got to fill in.
There are a few holes in Act 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think is the most important thing to get this story really going?
I think we really need to nail what happens when, as far as when Craig fights crime, when he gets home invaded, when Caroline handles his exorcism, and what happens at the church. Which is about the order I think those events should happen, but we need to like go in and really get the details down.
All right, cool. So we will make sure that out of all of our plots, so next episode we will finalize each of these beats into scenes, kind of figure out what scene each of these beats are, and then kind of plug in a little bit more details based on how much time we have left. I think that's good.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So tune in next week when we will try to either finish up Deadbeat with your help, obviously, or at least just pluck away at it for one more time. But either way, we do appreciate any and all attention that we get. We love talking to people. We love telling people how cool we are and how interesting our stories are and what we would do if we had a lot of money, such as being puffy. You know, we just want to get puffy. Yeah. We all just want to be a little bit sweaty. We just want to be a little sausages.
Yeah.
But we want to thank you very much because you're the reason we're doing it. You know, we don't make up stories for ourselves. We make up stories so people can listen to it and tell us. That was actually pretty cool. Thank you very much. And if you want to hear more stories that we've created, like I said in the beginning, we do some weird stuff. You can see most of the logos down here at the bottom. The one that I am currently the most proud of is a Create Your Own Pod Venture. I believe in the future you're going to find out that it was nominated for a Snobby. Not sure. Gonna hold off on that. A bit of a spoiler. But
we're raking in those awards.
Look, we're award heavy. We now own pieces of paper that add up to 7 awards.
I don't think I ever got to my. I don't think I got my paper, but that's okay.
Well, it got emailed to you. I had to print it on myself.
But
I tell you what, I printed it on some really nice paper, so it's a very good award. But yeah, we are award-winning podcasters. We are award-winning content creators.
That's not a joke, actually.
That's not a joke. Actually, we have won awards for just being imaginative, which is cool. One of those awards is this guy right here, which is my second favorite currently, which is Silicon Angels. Very, very cool, futuristic found footage, talking about misogyny and toxic masculinity, all in the crux
relationship issues,
annoying phone calls, and warranty guarantees. We do some weird stuff, and we just like making up stuff. So if you want to help us make more stuff, we do have a Patreon where we throw some weird stuff on there, and we really want to make people happy. So check out the Patreon, help us out. You could chuck in $1. We would like that. It would help us out. Do some more stuff. We have a lot of things coming up in the future. Silicon Angel Season 2 is coming up. Podcast. The podcast show Season 2 is coming up. Talking UpStream Season 2 is coming up. A lot of seasons. Even Create Your Pod Venture Season 2 is coming up. Also, some new stuff. We have a wizarding show. We still have our superhero show that we're working on. The meter kind of magic, and also super empowered. We also have something very secretive and very well, no, it is
more sci-fi.
More sci-fi. Either way, we love you. Thank you very much. Open up a browser, type in Some Nobodies, and just listen or watch. We would love that. Dylan, do you have any words of wisdom for our friends out there?
Just remember, everybody's nobody to somebody.
I thought that was it. You guys everybody's a nobody to somebody, and those somebodies care. So until next time, guys, I have been Zach, he has been Dylan, and you've been great. Thank you. Have a great night. Drink some water. Everybody. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, fine, whatever.